My name is Patricia Rios, and this video is the video for the major assignment in Sedn 635. The lesson title is 10 Apples on Top, and it is designed for a pre-K class consisting of 17 students, 9 boys and 8 girls. The learning objectives for this lesson are: the students will be able to understand the numerical sequence in the book 10 Apples on Top. Students will be able to answer how many questions. They will be able to participate in whole group discussions about the story. Students will be familiar with numbers 1 through 10, and students will be able to arrange the numbers 1 through 10 in order. First, I will call the students up one table at a time and ask them to sit on the rug, crisscross applesauce. The students will be informed that they will be, the book that we will be reading is called 10 Apples on Top by Dr. Seuss. To motivate them, I'm going to ask them how many apples they think that these animals can balance on their heads before falling. In addition to that, I will call students randomly to the front of the classroom, and I will ask them to balance apples on the table. Once they see how difficult it is to balance apples on a table, they will be motivated to see how many apples these animals were able to stack on their heads. During the story, I will add apples such as these to the board so that the students can follow along with the story. And at the end of the story, the class will hold a brief discussion discussing what happened to the animals when they were balancing apples on their heads, and also discussing how we carry things, why we do not carry things on our heads, and the reasons why we shouldn't. After we read the story and we have a discussion, we will have a craft. The materials for the craft will already be prepared for the students at their tables. They will have a large construction sheet of paper, such as this one, and they will have 10 apples, such as this one. They will be instructed to organize these apples in the middle of the sheet of paper from the top all the way down to the bottom. At the bottom, down here, they will have a picture of them for them to balance the apples on top of their heads. They will not get a glue stick until they've completed the order of the apples, so that either myself or the teacher's assistant can review with them and make sure the apples are placed in the correct order. When we see that there's a student that is having difficulty organizing them correctly, we will provide additional assistance at that time. For the students who are able to organize these apples in the correct numerical order, we will then give them a glue stick for them to glue the apples down. After they've completed their task of creating the apple craft, they will then come to the rug and we will sing a song called Apples, Apples by, and we're going to sing it to the tune of London Bridge is Falling Down. For every verse that we sing, we will add an apple to it so that we can review numbers 1 through 10. And while we're singing the song, we're going to be acting out the lyrics to incorporate physical movement into the lesson. When I created this lesson, I had a student in mind that suffers from attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Children with ADHD have difficulty sustaining attention during activities, following through on directions, organization, and are easily distracted. As I read the story, I will be animated to maintain the students engaged and attentive, and I will visually reinforce the number concept by using apple cutouts on the board as we read how the animals keep adding apples to their heads. The song Apples, Apples will be written down on a chart paper, and the number of apples will increase after every verse so that the students could have a visual of the number in addition to the physical movement that will be incorporated during the song. As I said, the student that I focused on when developing this lesson has ADHD. He is very bright but is easily distracted. Given the difficulty that he has in sitting at a table or on the rug for extended period of time, he will be given the freedom of standing so that while he's gluing his apples, if he wishes. In addition to the specific objectives of this lesson, the goal of this activity is to create a positive environment while keeping the student motivated, engaged, and focused on the task. The story, 10 Apples on Top, was chosen because of its silliness. The children think it's funny to see how animals balance apples on their heads, and the story text is repetitive and easy to understand. By using a book with this easy, repetitive nature, I am minimizing additional distractions that the story may have, and the student can organize his thoughts and focus on the numbers in the story. The lesson also reinforces number recognition and identification, as well as number sense and order. The variety of activities and movement that are planned during this lesson would be most effective for the student who has difficulty sitting for long periods of time.